and all our energy levels are still up. That's just to cool you down, because there'll be too much heat in the room. And our dear, the Honorable Vice President, who's just felt totally youthful, he's lost about 22 years in the little dance that he's done down there, is now going to let us know exactly what he thinks of us making him dance and how rude we were to him. Bwana Vice President, karibu.
Well, what a wonderful Saturday morning. Madam Caroline Ngugi, the Congress Committee President. Madam, the name is difficult. It's a Ukrainian name, International AIESEC International President. And the Kenya National President. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. I'm indeed delighted to be part of this very important occasion, marking, as it does, the 63rd International Congress of the Association of International Students in Economics and Commerce, AIESEC. Notably, this is the second of its kind in Africa, after South Africa, I'm told, in 1999. The choice of the theme of this Congress, which is carving young leaders to be sustainable future leaders, is in itself a celebration of sustainable youth leadership and a grand statement towards promoting youth development. I'm happy to note that the Congress has brought together representatives from over 100 countries worldwide, ranging from government representatives, business leaders, youth leaders, and AIESEC alumni representing over 70 global and local organizations. To all of our visitors, I say in our national language, Kiswahili, Karibuni Kenya. Welcome to our country. You've brought some strange weather with you, because in the month of August, it's normally vibrant, it is warm, but this looks like Europe. If you confuse Kenya for Europe, please don't take it against yourself. But I'm sure this should not deter you from sampling every bit of the Kenyan culture. I'm so delighted that this is a unique Congress where it is left to the young leaders themselves to come up with their own programs. And therefore, we are very short on protocol deliberately, and very long on entertainment, as it is realizing your creative energy, bring it out during these 10 days while you are with us in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, to become leaders of global standing, we must think about how education leadership interact, how they translate into transformational leadership that is squarely the domain of the youth because of the natural disposition given to them. By education, I mean continuous edification of the mind that ultimately leads to a greater world view, an ingredient critical to leadership. And in my understanding, no education devoid of mentorship begets the full worth of schooling. It is therefore in the interaction you are engaged in today that you add critical value to your life skills. Allow me to quote a seminal book titled Miseducation of the Negro, written way back in 1933 by Dr. Woodson Carter, who back in his day, and you can remember those are the days of the civil rights movement in the US, back in his day, castigated the regrettable alienation and damage to the African American worldview. Dr. Carter says, and I quote, "When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary." End of quote. So even as you aspire to gain deeper knowledge in the disciplines you specialize in the nature of mankind and workings of the universe in general, you must not allow what you have learned thus far implant a backdoor attitude in your minds. To become sustainable future leaders, you must purpose to become responsible citizens who abhor mediocrity, get restless with the average, and loathe dishonest gain. I mean corruption. This has been the undoing of so many countries in Africa, in the third world, and even in the first world. Corruption, misrule, misgovernance. You have as upcoming leaders to determine right at this stage that you'll have nothing to do with dishonest gain. Remember, no economy, no nation anywhere in this world ever moved forward on the props of charlatans, dead wood, or indeed sluggards. No leadership becomes great on the support of such character traits. With regard to leadership, which in my view is a concept so ill-framed, so haphazardly interpreted, I wish to share with you Walter Lippmann, another American intellectual, writer, journalist, and 2 times Pulitzer Prize winner, who once famously declared that, and I quote, "The final test of a leader is that he leaves behind in others the conviction and will to carry on." End of quote. I serve at other times as the Chief Commissioner of Kenya Scouts. I don't know how many of you will have heard of scouting. And in fact, if you are a scout, you should not leave before visiting the place where the founders of scouting were actually laid to rest on the slopes of Mount Kenya. And Lord Baden-Powell did challenge all the scouts everywhere in the world to always make sure that they leave this place better than we found it. My own observation throughout the course of my public leadership career is that unless the process of influencing others manifests deeply in selfless service, the will to carry on by others that Lippmann talks about can never be embedded in the DNA of a true leader. The key word here is service, while the crucial calling, in my honest opinion, is to be a servant leader. Young friends, young leaders, you must choose between instant gratification, not just in what you engage in the short run, but also where the lure for praise resulting from public displays of much more and self-congratulation beckon. In all you plan to do, I must remind you that the centerpiece of your ultimate success is your own character. And as Abraham Lincoln, very famous 16th president of the United States, once said, character is like a tree, while reputation